Hargit, I'm going to write back to you. Now, again, we don't do the names thing here, so we're not going to name where I've seen it. And it hasn't been just one PlayStation content creator. There's been a lot of like legitimate, some people are being facetious and toxic, and others are just asking a question. And of course, because we don't name names, we're going to do just an overall umbrella kind of a question. The question is this: multi-platform has become the forefront of what Xbox wants to do, right? It's defining them as a platform, not just for Xbox fans like us, but for customers. And though many of their games, like Avowed, were not day and date, of Starfield, we had our good friend Post Up take a screenshot from the Starfield app where it clearly said available for Xbox, PC, and the PlayStation logo was there, which, again, I've been saying this from the beginning of the year. We heard Bethesda is going to do a lot of big things are happening for Starfield this year. The PlayStation 5 version is happening. Maybe around the 2-year anniversary, they get both expansions. They make a $80 or $90 package. Becomes number one on PlayStation across the world because we know that it is. Even though everyone says the game sucks, people are going to be lining up to buy it, just like Forza Horizon 5. But just bringing this back to this question, where do you currently sit, Hargeet, with the thoughts that Xbox gamers like me, for instance, and I'm putting myself on the stand here, folks, because I don't worry about the arrows. I have thick skin. Somehow bent the knee and are not doing our due diligence as fans, and that's really what it comes down to. Not customers, but fans. That we didn't push back enough against Xbox doing this. And again, take all the time you want with this one. I think it's a valid question. What are your thoughts on this, man?
So, look, we can scream about whatever we want. Ultimately, business is business. And you already mentioned this. Do you want studios to close? Do you want more games? Just look at the output of the other major participant that makes very expensive games. And what do they got for you? What's their roadmap? Are you more excited for that? And I'm just being honest. Like, are you more excited for the stuff that's coming to PlayStation? Or are you more excited for the stuff that's coming to Xbox? The Nintendo gives you games every year. They give you like 8 games every year, right? But their budgets are much smaller. And that's how they can manage to do it. And they sell a lot too, which is awesome. So their model keeps working for them. That's awesome. I don't know how long that keeps going. Hopefully it continues forever for them. That's great. But when you spend a lot of money on games, you're hearing it from the PlayStation execs themselves. It's hard to do it because it costs too much. That's why they decided to bend the knee and put their stuff on Microsoft's Windows platform. Whether you like that fact or not, they are a multi-plat third-party publisher as well, and they're putting their games on Microsoft's Windows. Okay, that's the way it is. Now, you want to say that they're not putting it on Xbox. Who cares? They're multi-plat. They put a game day and date on Nintendo. They're just trying to make money. Ultimately, these are businesses. They're going to try to make money. They're going to try to find ways to make it so that they can keep their studios up and running to give you games. Now, if let's say we're in a world where there's no competition for PlayStation, and somehow Nintendo isn't, but it is, but somehow Nintendo isn't competition for them. Well, what's their reason to go make these games then? Because they don't need to. They don't have to attract you as a customer anymore. So they're just going to slow it down. They might give you a game or two here and there, but they're really just going to rely on third parties. And that's what's going to happen if you don't have competition, right? So, but, you know, in the world where you say that somehow we were the reason Microsoft did this, no, this was always going to happen. Years ago, Phil told you, my competition is not PlayStation and Nintendo. It's the big guys in the $1 trillion range, right? That's what their competition is. And they were trying to figure out how to make sure gaming sustains itself in a way that we, the gamers, want, instead of what was encroaching as what the other $1 trillion companies wanted to do, right? That was his fear about the gaming world. And so he decided, okay, look, I'm going to make sure that we keep this model that we have that the gamers like. Now, is it working? I don't know, because a lot of our energy goes into those black hole games, which are, you know, your Fortnites and Apexes and Robloxes and all those big games that basically just suck up all the energy, right? A lot of the gaming world, essentially half of it is just playing those games. The other half sometimes plays those games too, right? Boom, you've been playing Call of Duty a lot. It's just one of those things.
I was almost late for the show because of it.
Right? And then there's the smaller part of the set, you know, the gaming world that plays all the other games, right? And that money is kind of becoming smaller because a lot of the money is spent and energy is spent on those other games. And in that world, how do you keep up and keep making new games? This is kind of the world they're in, right? And they're saying, well, these budgets are ballooning. And I warned about this a long time ago. I actually have a video on my channel that says, look, if you keep pushing that everything has to look awesome, every blade of grass has to look beautiful and flow correctly, that's work. It's work. Now, yes, engines can try to fix that. But guess what? Now your indie developer has access to that. Your AAA developer has to say, what can I do to differentiate so that I keep getting money? That's what's going to keep happening. And then you keep wasting time on things that are absolutely irrelevant. How many times are you looking at the grass? How many times are you looking at the enemy that you're trying to fight, the protagonist, the antagonist? That's what you're doing, right? You're looking at those two characters or whatever else is on the screen. You're not looking at the freaking tree branches and the stupid leaves on it. If you are, you're just sitting there wasting your time. Go watch a movie. That's not what the gaming is about. The player playing the game and going through the narrative. And that's what unfortunately keeps happening. We will never get a Mass Effect trilogy in one generation. It's not going to happen anymore. Why?
No.
Because this is what we do.
Yeah.
We want 10 years for a game. Then what do you expect to happen? That costs money. And that's where we're running into this problem, right? The challenge is the ballooning. And this is what Sean Layden said. Our budgets are ballooning. It's not sustainable. At some point, it's going to, have to be reckoned with. And then, the Phil answer was, well, we have Game Pass. We can go create Game Pass. It gives us a budget. We can then play with that budget and say, you will have a smaller game, you will have a bigger game, and that's okay. That's fine. Cool. They can then also buy, they just have the money to do it. They can go buy an ABK, which just supplements their income, right? They constantly have this profit model coming in with these mobile games and the live service games. Awesome. That's not easy for everybody else to do. Ubisoft, anyone? It's not an easy thing to keep that going, right? It's a difficult thing to continue to do. So this is where we are, right? So is it our problem then to tell Microsoft, no, you should waste money so that we can go rah, Xbox? Or should they look at the world and say, this is where gaming is going. It's mobile, PC, and then the last option is console. That's the world. Whether you like it or not, that's the world. What do you want them to do? They own one of those platforms. They tried to be in the mobile space and they failed. So they're going to go after iOS and Android and say, we want a store over there so we can make money. Right? So they're trying to do that. They're fighting that fight on the global scale with the regulators of the world and the governments of the world. And the other platform, PC, they basically kind of own. So they're trying to take advantage of that. And they're starting to get competition, which is awesome. That's what they're looking at. And they're saying, well, why the heck should we shy away from then putting our games wherever to make as much money as possible? If 80 million people want to buy a PS5, 117, whatever it was, want to buy a PS4. If 150 want to buy a Switch, well, why should we say no to that? Here you go. They're just not doing it day and date for a lot of their games. They'll do it day and date for games that make sense, right? You've already had Doom. Sure. Here you go.
We're hearing Gears, right? The Gears trilogy.
But it would be older games. Will it be E-Day? I don't know. I don't know if day and date for E-Day. I don't know. We'll see what they do, right? Like Avad, Obsidian knows how to make games for PlayStation. Obsidian knows how to make games for Switch, right? They've done that. So they could have easily done this day and date. They just didn't, right? So this is an exclusive. Will it come to other platforms? I would guess so. When? I don't know, right? So this is kind of the world we're in with them, right? So they will do some things that are day and date. And, the sad part is E-Day, Halo, they make sense to do day and date because they're community driven, right? So you probably want to do them day and date to get as many multiplayer players, right? But The flip side is they kind of identify themselves as the main core, IP for Xbox. Maybe they say we'll do that delayed. I don't know. Like Starfield's delayed. As we know, the port already existed. They told them stop working on it for PlayStation, right? The port already existed for Starfield. They said, oh, let's just slow down on that one. We'll put it on an Xbox. If they're going to do it, it's not confirmed by any means, right? Just because there's a graphic logo in there doesn't mean that they actually are putting it out there. That could just be a copy paste of the app from an older game, as they're moving it to Starfield and they just forgot to take the graphics out or some stupid thing like that. It happens, right?
Yeah.
So it's not confirmed, but would it surprise anybody if it comes out for PlayStation?
Not at all.
So now, are we then supposed to say, no, Microsoft, you have to do this because of console war, and I'm a child, I'm like 10 years old, and no, dude, come on. Should I tell Ford, why did you stop competing against GM? You need to make sure that Ford is better than Chevy. No, I don't care. I don't care. They need to compete in the global world. They need to just make their cars so that people buy them. Why is that my problem? Literally, should people be picketing freaking GM for not competing against Ford? Where's the Camaro against the pony car? I mean, I'm sorry, the Mustang. Why isn't it? I don't care. Buy the car you want. Does this really matter? Toyota is the number one car sales, right? And they're somewhere, what is it, like 5 million or something, like whatever it is. They sell a lot of cars. And then if I said, well, what about like Ferrari? Why do they sell so few cars? Why aren't there? Who cares? Do they make money?
Yeah, a lot of money. So
does it matter? Do they have a whole bunch of OEMs that have to give them stuff? Do those OEMs feel comfortable giving them stuff? Why do I care? Ultimately, you buy the thing you want. If the money works for that company, they're good.
Yeah.
Microsoft is making money hand over fist. Why would they be bothered? That's the thing. So you want to sit there and tell me that I have to tell Phil Spencer, no, Phil, you can't put this over there. Why would you listen to me? Who the hell am I? Who the hell are any of us? Honestly, think about that.
Yeah,
they have
that's a great point.
That are making massive brains, sitting there figuring out the markets, and they're telling us that now have they failed before? Absolutely. The market decides what they want. Absolutely. But some people are in their feelings about this because I have no idea why. I am not Microsoft. I am not Xbox. I can give them my opinion. Ultimately, it's up to them to figure out where the market makes sense for them. Is a platform still valid to them? They have two of them, Windows, Xbox. You choose if you want either one of those. They've given you a third option, put it in cloud. You can choose that if you like. Ultimately, I'm sure they will put games. They have some on mobile. They will probably put everything on mobile. And the reason isn't to put it on a stupid phone. To me, the reason is Android TV. All the TVs have it. Eventually, you're just going to have your freaking TV run your game. You're going to hook your controller up to it. You already have the inklings of this starting when they're partnering up for the cloud access, right? They're low latency. The reason they did that partnership wasn't just, we have to have the licensing. No. It's to make it so that the latency of your controller to that TV is good, right? Because they do that on the console. That's what they've been doing. So if that's what's going to be there for all the TV, eventually, like 10 years from now, there's going to be enough processing power in your TV. They'll just deploy the game right there. They don't care. Wherever you will give them money, they will go there. That's what they're going to do. Now, if you want to have a console device, they'll give you one. As long as there's a market, it'll make sense for them to keep making it. So I don't know why we should be the ones saying that we have to push back. I've said this a long time ago. They're going to do this. They're going to go here. It's just a question of when. ABK accelerated all of it.
Of course it did.
There's no way around it, right?
Yep.
You spend that much money, and then you see the books, and you're like, Bobby K was making how much profit? Why the hell aren't we making this? Why? What's this? Why is our strategy different? And they're just going to say, how do we make that kind of a margin, right? He was making good margins, like, but like 1.5-2 billion out of 8 billion in revenue, he was making in profits. So he's like, why aren't we doing that? I want that level of profit. Right. And, the margins are thinner. They just are. And that's what they didn't like. And they're like, well, he made the money. Yes, he did. But he has these massive black hole games. What do you want? So either way, this is what they're doing. OK,
no,
I just don't see the downside from my perspective. When I see massive, awesome June showcases, every time they're showing something, I didn't even expect expect from a freaking dev direct that I'd get 2 Ninja Gaiden games?
Yeah,
What?
that's a great point.
What?
And
Okay.
one was a shadow drop, no less. Right into Game Pass. Here you go. Merry Christmas.
Show me the time when you're looking at a PlayStation showcase in the last few years and you're like, oh my God, that was epic. Show me. Right? Whereas a stupid dev direct 2 Ninja Gaiden games. Come on. They're different leagues and they're not done. They have so much in the works. We don't even know so many of the things, and some of them we have the rumors for, right? So whatever. I'm not gonna.
No, I mean you make a lot of fantastic points, and of course, look again. I'm right there with you.
Now we brought the smoke boom when they closed studios, right? We went off
we went off on them.
So that's when you bring up smoke. I mean, come on, right? Yeah. But come on, like, why am I gonna stop this?
No. I mean, like, look, the Ruham in the chat, good friend of the show. He's always here. So Ruham, welcome as always, brother. He says I can go back some shows ago when it did matter, and you know what? You're right. You can Asante, I want to bring you in, brother, and we'll get everyone out of here. There was a point where I honestly felt a way. I felt the type of way, as the kids like to say, about games, specifically the Trinity, going over to PlayStation. And to even say it today, Ruham, it freaking feels incredibly weird. Like I'm still not there. I accept it, not because I'm bending the knee. It's the market. It's the business. And everyone keeps saying, well, Sony will never do that. Sony also was never going to put MLB The Show on Xbox. And they did. Sony was never going to put Hidai Death Stranding on Xbox, and he did. Lego Horizon, I thought for sure it was going to be in March, so I'm wrong there. That's coming to Xbox at some point. Now, does that mean that God of War is coming over? Folks, I just don't think so. But the money people, like the same money people that made all these big decisions for Xbox, they're making those big decisions now for PlayStation. Now, it's not going to happen overnight. Hell, I don't even know. I mean, I keep saying Ghost of Yotai or Yoti, however you say it, is their first PC day and date. I honestly, in my heart of heart, believe that. But, Kay, I want to get your thoughts on this, the quote-unquote bending the knee. Because, again, I know some people in the chat like, oh, why are we talking about this? Because it's a hot community. It's a hot community conversation happening right now. Right now on the socials, it is a conversation. So we try to stay ahead of the curve on this channel, and we like to have, some pointed conversation. And I think we're doing that now. Kason, let's get your thoughts, man.
So I'll keep it basic and I'll keep it simple. Okay. Let me be clear. I don't begrudge or belittle or disrespect anyone who has enjoyed console warring, to who remembers it on the playground and it's been part and parcel of the gaming experience for a long time. I have no smoke for you at all, right? Because some people will go, oh, that's childish, that and the third. This was part and parcel of how consoles were sold and marketed to the kids when consoles came out. We forget consoles are a relatively immature market, right? They are as old as we are. Us graybeards. We grew up with consoles. Right. Before we grew up, they didn't exist, right? I feel like this is, to a smaller extent, but go here with me. When Netflix decided that they were going to stop discs and go full digital, and people just went, okay, there goes the business model, right? Imagine if Netflix was Netflix that but with CDs for like 40 years. And then they go, oh, we're going digital only. We're killing the CD business. That's how I kind of feel it's going on right now in the gaming environment, because it's such an ingrained, such an existing, such a tried and true business model. People just cannot see how and why you would want to move on from it, right? And the logistics in the middle don't really matter, and this, and that, and the third. It's just about what it is. Let me be clear. I got no smoke for those of you who know what the status quo is, who's always been the status quo, and it's fine. I have no smoke for that. I personally was not part of that ecosystem because where you seem to live, where you grew up, different things happen. And I make jokes about it. I happen to be the kid that was on the inside looking out going, what are they talking about? What is this Sega thing and why does it matter? Right? And depending on how you grew up, that stuff works on you a different way, right? So I need to establish that. I have no smoke for that. The only thing I will say, though, is where you start is where you start. But at some point, this gaming business, this gaming hobby, this outlet, while it's immature relative to other industries, it is mature based on our usage of it, right? BoomStick remembers boop bop, remembers Pong, and now we got The Last of Us Part 2 in his lifetime, right? I say all that to say gaming is maturing, and gamers must also mature with it, right? Now, let me keep it a buck, straight up. Here you are a graybeard like me. You're like, you know what? I enjoy the console war. This is all bullshit. Why we all deal? Call a spade a spade. I got you. You good. Do your thing. I have no issues with you, right? The thing where I feel like I need to come out and speak is when they make that segment of the market the whole market. The idea of bending the knee itself is a childish pursuit if you look at it outside of the console war frame, right? That's why I always keep saying, whose definition of success are we talking about, right? Is it our definition of success? Is it the console warriors definition? Is it the casuals definition? Or is it the business's definition? Because I have a feeling each of them will give you a different answer, right? And what I'm saying is this whole bending the knee thing, let's take it from the other perspective, right? I also hear that the company bent the knee by putting their games elsewhere, right? The whole ball game is to have enough people to sell your wares to. And what wares are we talking about? Not consoles.
Games.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Consoles are the bread by which the game, the hot dog, gets delivered to you. But just in that same analogy, they'll never sell you the same amount of buns that you need for the hot dog. So now you got more buns than you know what to do with. See what I did there?
I did. That's funny.
World, if you can sell a man a hot dog without a bun, why wouldn't you?
Pause.
Exactly what they're talking about right now. Right? This is the world we live in. So as long as you think like them, as in what they think is successful, because again, at the end of the day, it's all about just selling you games. Right? If you're able to get the games, they've won. What did we do to get you that game? Did we have to make a console? Did we have to market it to you? Did we have all the things they did to potentially get you that game in your pocket, in your hands, and they get your money? They'll deduct cost as to what they did to get you to buy that $70 game or to pay that subscription, right? So as long as you understand that in the mature world of the 30-year-olds and the 40-year-olds who've been part of gaming for a long time now, as long as you understand that they now see beyond the console back and forth, and that's the reason why they're going, console wars, what are you talking about? We're so beyond it. Yeah, that's crap. Right? I wish Destin was here. That was the one thing I wish he would have asked Phil, because I still feel like someone needs to pin him down on it. While I don't care about the console war, and frankly, I think it's ridiculous, you did care about the console war. For a long time, you cultivated it. Yes, we understand you've moved on now.
Right?
Let's talk about the bridge that got you there. Stop acting like the people who keep saying, hey, consoles, exclusives. Why you keep acting like they have two heads? You've been cultivating them for decades. Now all of a sudden you wake up one morning and it doesn't exist anymore. That is the fair criticism. Yeah. Right? I believe that's fair because you promised it to them. But at the end of the day, we are all mature here. We used to be 12, 13, 15 playing on the school in the playground. A lot of us are doctors and lawyers and business owners. Look into yourself. When you sit down, that game is awesome and it costs $200 million to make. There is no world they're only keeping it for you. They need to make the money.